All right, Ai Weiwei is in the news again, this time on Channel 4, talking about freedom of speech in the UK or in the West and in China, the differences. Let's just hear what he has to say.
Is censorship in China driven by power, and is censorship in places like America or the UK driven by corporate greed?
Censorship in China really comes from some kind of ideology. They're trying to maintain the stability of the state power. But censorship in the West has really come from the corporative interests. And those interests also reflect some kind of capitalism ideology. So it's also untouchable.
But in this country, I can still say what I like on Twitter or X. I can write to the newspapers, I can stand on Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park and shout my mouth off about the government, and I probably won't end up in jail. That is not the case in China.
It's different. In China, maybe a little voice can make you vulnerable, but here you make a lot of voice, but nobody care. So your voice is not relevant.
Yeah, and that is the thing. Your voice is not relevant. There's the difference. One is government, the other one is corporate. So I have here the Constitution of the People's Republic of China, and let's first see if you have freedom of speech in China. So here is Article 35. Citizens of the People's Republic of China shall enjoy freedom of speech, the press, assembly, association, procession, and demonstration. So clearly it is enshrined in the Constitution. And here Article 41, citizens of the People's Republic of China shall have the right to criticize and make suggestions regarding any state organ or state employee, and have the right to file with relevant state organs complaints, charges, or reports against any state organ or state employee for violations of the law or dereliction of duty, but they shall not fabricate or distort facts to make false accusations. There is what the difference is. There is what the difference lies in, right? The state organ concerned must ascertain in the facts concerning the complaints, charges, or reports made by citizens and take responsibility for their handling. No one shall suppress such complaints, charges, or reports or take retaliatory action. Persons who have suffered losses resulting from infringement of their civil rights by any state organ or state employee shall have the right to receive compensation in accordance with the provisions of law. So they are allowed to criticize the government, unlike what people say in the West or think in the West. You just cannot fabricate or distort facts to make false accusations. This actually is literally happening to me now. I'm being falsely accused, probably, I must say allegedly, because that's what the detective said who took the interview. He said that that I called them something which I did not do. And that is actually a false accusation. However, our justice system just is going through with this prosecution, because it is more important to prosecute Chinese people for speaking out in the Netherlands than anything, right? But the Chinese people in China, they must have freedom of speech. I'm sorry, I just had to bring that in there. I told you every single time when I have a chance to talk about that, I will, so people will understand. Then he says on Hyde Park, people can just say whatever they want. That's also not true. It's definitely not true. Here, this is from Hyde Park. Hatun Tash was arrested 2 times. One time is not over speech. The other one was over freedom of speech. Dr. Heiko Schöning was also arrested in 2020, also over freedom of speech. And there are many other cases, and also an anarchist in the 70s. So what he's saying, that you can say everything that you want, there is totally not true. So let's get to this. This is going to be quite funny.
In Russia last year, 400 people were arrested for things that they said on social media. 400 people in Russia. Obviously, this country is very different. How many people do you think were arrested in Britain for things they said on social media last year?
Let me know in the comment section if you know it.
Take a guess.
I have no idea.
3,300.
Really? Arrested for what they'd said on social media?
Yeah.
Really? What sort of things get you arrested?
Well, one example I give in my show is there was a young woman from Liverpool called Chelsea Russell, and people can look this up. Her friend was killed in a car crash, a 19-year-old woman, and she posted the lyrics of his favorite song on her Instagram, the lyrics. And there was a rap song, so the lyrics contained several instances of the N-word. Okay? She was arrested, prosecuted, found guilty, given 500 hours of community service and a fine, tagged, and for a year she was under 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. curfew.
My goodness.
In Britain.
In Britain.
In 2018.
So we talk about the Chinese system of social credits.
Right.
And describe it as the creation of, or the emerging of a digital prison. But we're doing it to ourselves voluntarily in the West, so to speak.
Absolutely. I mean,
So we'll cancel people socially if they say the wrong thing on social media. But you're telling me now that 3,500 people were visited by the police.
No, far more were visited by the police.
Right.
Far more. There are cases just half a year ago, and I defended Jo Brand, a British comedian, over this. She made some comments, which, you know, it wasn't a great joke, but she talked about this during this milkshaking episodes where people were having milkshakes thrown at them.
Yeah, anyway, that was also the woman was being arrested over a joke while she was doing a performance in a setting for comedians. So it was clearly not incitement to violence. It was clearly in a setting where they are supposed to make jokes. She's a comedian. She was just doing her job. And then he's going on about the other dude who had his dog make a sign that they did in World War II, also was arrested. I personally also know somebody else, Fiona Ryan. You can look her up. She's been arrested several times on bogus charges over freedom of speech about what happened in, or what's happening in in the Middle East. So I don't even know where she is now, because I believe she's not allowed to be on social media anymore. That's ridiculous. And I also know other instances way before these things of journalists going to the UK and at the border being taken in and they're holding you, not just the normal police, but the police for certain organizations that start with a T and end with the word error. Like, it's insane. So to say that there is freedom of speech in the UK is just a load of BS. It is not, totally not the case. And especially not in the case of their colonies. Especially in Hong Kong, there was an iron rule. The Chinese were not allowed to be pro-Chinese. Just go figure that one out. You were not allowed to say anything bad about the tyrannical regime. So yeah. That was it. Basically what I wanted to show you guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comment section what you all think of this. I also have opened a Buy Me a Coffee for the people who can and want to support me. But only do that if you have more than enough money. Please do not donate if you do not have a lot of money, because, you know, I wouldn't like that. But for those people, please like my video, share, and also follow me. That would be just as much to me as a nice cup of coffee. Makes me just as happy. And yeah, basically that's it. As always, have a great day. Your favorite half Chinese.